Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Interviews with Excellence Behind the Curtain. I'm DJB, King of Media, if you didn't already know. And tonight, coming fresh off a great interview with John, with Strange on Friday night, we are jumping right into the deep end with another fantastic interview. At least I hope it is, because it's been a while since I've had to sit next to this next guy and talk with him for an extended period of time. But hopefully he's on his best behavior tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the person I'm going to be interviewing, the fallen angel, Persona. Welcome.
This
How
feels
are you
weird.
doing?
This feels very weird.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Feels very aftermathy, but not.
No aftermath stuff tonight. We're not going to be diving into any footage or anything like that. We are going to be talking a lot about you and your place in all of this grand, wild world of wrestling that we all hopefully love. We have a lot of people watching right now, by the way. A lot of people want to say good evening. First person on the docket there, Ethan, saying evening, everyone. Good evening, Ethan. I hope you're all right. Jacob, evening, DJB, go away Persona. And it begins already, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot of things like that. Pilato Post, I know they are a new subscriber at the channel. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing very well. Good evening, Kobe. Good evening, Blue Brev, Sulfrena. Good evening, Bell Brev. Good evening, Zoe. Good evening, Sammy. We've got so many people watching. Good evening, Brandon. I'm doing very, very good, my friend. We're here, of course, to talk to and about that man right there. Now, because of how many of you are watching, so before we dive into the questions, I know a lot of you are going to want your own questions put up. So, just in case I do miss it, if you want to maybe take a little dive into your pockets, if you want your question for Persona to be seen on screen, 100% guaranteed, go to YouTube and consider using the super chat feature, and it will be right there on a big banner underneath me and Persona for at least a solid 60 seconds. And I'll make sure he gets the question on and answered.
Give me
But, but yeah, for you, sir. Are you ready for the first question?
Yeah, I'm ready. Just try my best in the next hour not to get cancelled, so I'm ready.
It does say trying your best to be nice. Hopefully, you do stick to that. The first question I do have for your Persona is, at the beginning of the IWF, when it first came to be, when you were first approached, what was your role in it all? Like, where do you come in?
Well, the IWF sort of came about because of not just me, but like a collective of people. It wasn't just one person that said, I want to do this, let's go do it. It was a collective of people that came together and agreed to start it. And I was one of them. But it was a very quick decision, but everyone jumped on board very quickly. And my role behind the scenes is, well, teach people how to wrestle. Not quite as good as me, but
I like that when you say teaching people how to wrestle, because I like the thought of you passing on your knowledge to the next generation. But that does kind of lead into my next question: is what inspired you to want to do that? Ambition, frustration with the wrestling scene elsewhere, or was it something deeper?
Both ambition and frustration with the scene. I think for a while now, I've always wanted to sort of not solely run my own promotion, but run a wrestling promotion with a group of people. It's been something I wanted to do for many, many years since being in wrestling. So that's always been a goal for me, and now that it was able to happen, I jumped straight for it. And then frustration with the wrestling scene, because I think a lot of promotions don't do professional wrestling well. I think a lot of promotions, especially in England, do professional wrestling a disservice, and they're quite embarrassing to professional wrestling. Previous company I was in was one of them, and I decided I wanted to make a place where we weren't an embarrassment and where everybody could really show how good they were and stand out.
I do believe that you're all making that impression here at the IWF. Kind of again leading into my next question, did you envision the IWF taking off as fast as it did, especially with it being just very much short notice bringing it to life?
No, I thought we were going to get a very slow start because we started from we had nothing. Like, we didn't have a roster, we didn't have championships, we still don't have a ring. Like, we're using a different promotions ring for the meantime, but we don't have a ring. We don't have sound systems, we don't have mics, we don't have lights, we don't have anything that a wrestling promotion would need to succeed. But in the matter of, I don't know how many days it was, and we've got like 400, 500 followers. But that's surely off just how much effort the roster that we did get straight away they've put into making an online audience enjoy them and want to watch them wherever they go.
Yeah, and credit to the roster, and that does include you as well, Persona. You are part of that roster, and whether people do like it or whether they hate it, it's fact. When you took on this role, as when you wanted to train people, has it made you want to push harder as a wrestler, or do you think of it more of as a burden, a weight on your shoulders? Do you think it could go one way or the other?
It's definitely not a burden. Like, I enjoy doing it. I didn't want to start doing it. I trained people before IWF, and it's never something that I wanted to start doing like on a weekly basis. It was something that I was just asked to do once, and then once became twice, and then became every week, sometimes a few times a week. And then it was just something that I thought, I'm good at this, and I don't know everything there is to know about professional wrestling. I don't think anybody does. But I think I've got a lot of knowledge on certain styles of wrestling and certain wrestling philosophies. And if I can pass all of that on, and if I can make these trainees that I've got better wrestlers than me, then I've succeeded.
Right. Leading, I like this one. This next question. I'd like to know when you truly think you emerged as more than just the trainee and more towards the professional, the trainer side. When did that happen in your career? Can you pinpoint? Let's say, can you pinpoint a match when you thought, "Yeah, I'm no longer a trainee now. I know my stuff. I'm good at this."
I feel like it's around about. I won my first ever championship, and it was called the Arcadian Level Up Championship. And I had a series of matches with a wrestler called Chase Striker at that time. And those matches are some of my favourite matches, and I think they're some of the best matches I've put on to date. And it wasn't just them two matches, but that whole championship reign. I was put against some like good quality wrestlers. I was put against people like Chase Striker, Jay the Jackal, Martin Kirby, and in those matches, I didn't feel like I was second best to them. I felt on the level with them, and I felt like I could hang with them. So it was at that point where I thought I can pass my not limited, but whatever knowledge I've got that's made me be like this, I can pass on to other people. So I think it was that championship reign that made us think that I can teach people some things.
You have just kind of answered my next question as well. Is what do you think was some of the early matches or moments that made you stand out above the others? Is there anything you want to add on to what you've just said? Anything that you can think of?
The moment that made us stand out was, so again, going back to Arcadian wrestling, when that promotion first started, I was used as more of a filler wrestler. So I wasn't really in any stories. I wasn't really in any big matches. I was sort of just slapped on the card against a random person every month, and then lost or won. Same thing next month. And I didn't like it. I felt undervalued. I thought, okay, these guys don't have faith in me, or these don't trust me to be that next level wrestler. So I thought, first opportunity I get, I'm going to show them why I'm the best there is here, and why you need to put me in the main event every single show, or why I need to be around that every single show. So I got my first main event there, which I wasn't meant to have. The person that was originally meant to have it backed out of it for whatever reason. So I was then through in the mix. I then put on a banger of a match, and I've been of that top level of the card ever since.
I like it. I do admire the confidence that Persona brings everyone. I know some don't, but I do. So now that you're a lot further along in your career, multiple championships under your belt, how does it feel knowing that you are well known, balancing between being a wrestler and what some would say, I guess, is a role model and inspiration for the next generation of wrestlers currently rising up in the scene?
I don't think I'm a good role model. I don't think people younger than me should be following in my footsteps and doing the things that I'm doing. Even the things I say and the ego that I have, a lot of people would find very controversial. But being known by a lot of different promotions and a lot of different wrestlers, I like it. It's fun. That's the whole reason you're in this business, is to be known by people and get your name out there. Comes to being a role model, I think behind the scenes I can definitely be one. When it comes to the philosophy, when it comes to knowing the business, your do's and your don'ts, I think people could definitely follow me footsteps that way. When it comes to actually being in front of a crowd and in a ring, I would not follow what I do, because you'd probably end up in prison.
All right. We do have a comment question here. Who has been your favorite opponent so far in your career?
Spawn.
But I had a feeling you were going to say that. Yeah, I love seeing you and Spawn go at it. This is a big nice one. Persona, I said it from when I worked with him. This lad is very talented, and I make it my mission to try and push this lad when and after I worked with him. And it's great to see that he's keeping up the work. From Mark Smith.
Thank you very much.
Very,
Very
nice
fun
words. And
match. Very fun match against my head.
You have a fan in John Chaplow there as well, the best wrestler in the world.
I usually hate us. He usually says that I'm not the best wrestler in the world, but glad to see that he's seen the light.
Always a great match with Spawn, and that does lead me onto what I guess would be the next segment of my questions here. Is you did have a tag team championship and a tag team run with Spawn, the Lilac Legion. So let's talk about you and Spawn. When did that connection start for you two? What made it work so well?
I think we took I think we clicked nearly straight away. I wouldn't say we clicked straight away, because if you know me, I don't like people. I don't like talking to people. I don't like new people. I just like getting on my own thing and doing what I want to do. So when I go to a show like CCW, where I'd never been before, and it was full of all these people that I didn't know and that I didn't really want to get to know because I don't like people, I was literally just there to wrestle and then go home. And then when I got told I was in a tag team with some either 14 or 15-year-old kid at the time, I was like, oh, great, this should be fun. Can't wait to do this. And then we sort of got along. I'll admit I was a bit standoffish about the whole thing to begin with. But then I think after we filmed a few videos together and actually spoke to each other outside of wrestling, and we took the time to actually get to know each other and form a connection, the chemistry was just there. And yeah.
I know this man here as well was a big part of that at one point. The genius is, and he's saying that I remember that night that Prince Dagon and I noticed you and thought you would be a great tag team partner with Spawny. And I don't know what you think about that now, but they weren't wrong. You and Spawn absolutely did dominate. In fact, dominated so much that you held gold together. You held tag team gold together. So I've got to ask, what were some of the best battles or the best not shows, sorry, the best matches you've had, the wars you'll never forget from that reign, and is it still taking a toll on you to this day?
If you know me outside of wrestling, you know that I complain about my back every 5 minutes, and my knees. So I think wrestling, not just being in the tag team title division or being the tag team champions, took the toll, but being in wrestling in general has took its toll on us. I'm only 22, so this should be fun when I get older. But when it comes to the actual tag title run that we had a coffin match. And that was a very fun match because I think that was my first or second match where weapons were involved, and it was a stipulation. And that was the first time that I actually got to play about with that sort of environment. And it's not my favourite environment, but it was fun to do it. And we've done a lot of fun things. One match against Johnny Flashback and Jet Fashion, I enjoyed that. That was fun. Really good match. And outside of the tag title reign, me and Spawn against the Red Face Demon in a handicap match, I think is our best match together that we've had. And I think in that, if you watch that full match, you can see like that's where the chemistry was perfect. And you've seen how much we're both evolved as wrestlers while being in that tag team together.
Yeah, I remember watching that match as well. It is up there with one of my favorites. You and Spawn still, you were like brothers at one point, and we'll get to what happened there in a minute. But looking back now, was that built on a real friendship? So not just inside the ring, I mean outside the ring as well. Friendship and trust, or was it just a matter of time before it crumbled? Was it just a case of, you've been thrown together, it's going to end at some point? Or let's say, did you go out for chips together? Did you go out for drinks together? That sort of thing.
We've had many of times where I've been around his house. It was a real friendship. Played Xbox till about 4 a.m. together across numerous nights. I've been at his house for parties. I've been at his grandmother's party. It wasn't just a on-screen thing. It was there was a real nice friendship there, and I cannot forget curry night, which is a sacred thing between myself and the Lilac family.
Just as you say that, there goes one member of them, curry night.
Wait, it's tradition to now get a foul.
I like that. Comment question here by Taylor. Do you have any non-wrestlers that outside of the ring have been influential in your journey?
Ooh. Colin is a big one. He always gives us good advice and sort of tries to guide us the best that he can. But if you've spoke to me, you know that if my mind's made up, then it's very hard to guide us in a certain direction. Well, Taylor, who sent the message, he's gave us a lot of his opinions since I've knew him, and he's influenced us quite a lot. I'm trying to think of people who are around the wrestling scene but aren't actually in the ring. But promoters as well, that's a big one. All the promoters that I've worked for have influenced us in some way. And yes, I'm a very opinionated wrestler, and I've probably had a falling out with every promoter that I've knew, but they've all influenced us in certain ways. Like the promoter of Arcadian, he sort of gave me that main event spot and let me rank higher as a wrestler. CCW, the promoter there, he put a lot of faith in me, and a lot of that I think I earned, but yeah, all very influential.
All right. Well, we are going to move on from after the tag title run because, as many people will know, you turned your back on Spawn. You kicked him in the face. You destroyed a photograph of the Lilac Legion and Colin. You turned your back on the fans. You turned your back on everyone. But it did lead to what I would say is a very historic Light in the Dark championship run. I remember that championship run very, very well. Uh, I've got to ask what the significance of that title reign was to you. It felt personal seeing you with that belt. Just how personal was it?
So when I got told that I was in the running for that championship and that there was a potential that I could win that championship, I was very annoyed to begin with. And everyone's going to think that, again, this is the ego. He didn't want the championship because I thought at the time in CCW that I was of the top level. And I thought, right, why aren't I in the main event picture for the main prize? Why am I getting pulled down to here? And I felt very, not disrespected, but again, like undervalued. Like I'd won Wrestler of the Year there. Every match I'd come backstage and people would say it was match of the night. So I was questioning myself, being like, okay, well, what more do I need to do to be up there? And then I got the Light in the Dark. Didn't get what I wanted, which was the main belt, but I got this one. So I decided, all right, I'm going to make this one the most important one in the show. And I'm going to do everything I can to make this championship the most sought after the entire time that I've got it. And I'm going to make no other championship matter except the one I've got. So I put everything that I had into the title. And I think I had one of the best reigns with it today. And I think I made every other championship at the time mean nothing.
Some might call that egotistical, but again, I just call it confidence. And I can't argue it was a very historic Light in the Dark championship run.
My opinion, if you're a wrestler and you have a championship and you don't want that if you don't want that championship to be the most important one on the card, then hand the belt in. You don't want it.
I know a lot of people who would agree with you as well. One of them's actually from this comment, going back to earlier on, I can relate something personal said. I don't like people in general. I like individuals, but groups aren't really my thing.
Fair enough. I respect it.
I totally agree with him on the booking at that time. Yep. Groups are for the weak of mind when you cannot formulate a thread of thought of your own. I think that there are people out there agreeing with your persona.
The persona cult is beginning.
Still on the Light in the Dark championship reign, how did that chapter define not only persona as a wrestler, but as a man?
As a man, it probably made us the most hated person in CM. But then again, CM's full of like degenerates, so it doesn't really. Well, not all of them. Just some of them that live around and go to the same area every Sunday. But
okay.
No, I think the Light in the Dark. I think the Light in the Dark defined me with what I've just said, with making that championship the most important. I think it showed the caliber of wrestler that I was and what I could do given the opportunities to do it.
So we're going to talk now a little about that fall from grace, from a celebrated tag team champion to a fallen angel Light in the Dark champion. When did things start to change for Persona, and what led to that change? So, obviously, you changed your clothing, you covered yourself, you've got that black crap all over your face, different music. Where did that change come about?
I decided that a change needed to happen to myself to sort of not stay relevant, because I think I was very relevant at the time, but to be the center of attention and to be the talking point of the show. I needed to change, because if I just stayed as the same thing, then it would have got boring, and people wouldn't have cared. So I think that with every wrestler, that you can't just be the same thing for so many years and expect it to work. Like there's the very rare chance that it does. But for me, you've got to constantly evolve and change with the times and change with the audience. So I decided on the change and to become a much darker version of what I was, because I don't think people would have expected it. I don't think people would have expected us to do the things that I did, say the things that I said. I don't regret any of them. I'd say them all again. But I think it was just a much needed change, especially for the CCW audience as well, who care so much about characters and who care so much about stories. Like, Persona at that time wasn't really a character. It was just me. But then when all the black stuff, music changed, there was an actual story and a character to then immerse yourself in and to get behind or hate. And they chose hate, so they got it back. Deserved.
All right then. This next question kind of segued from the last one. I'm gonna talk about your music for a second, and this is a personal question that I've thought of. Are there any similarities between Persona and Sephiroth, the character from Final Fantasy? Because that's whose music you come out to. I'm a massive fan. You already know this. Are there any similarities, would you say?
I don't think so. He's the villain. He's like the ultimate villain.
He's just a bad guy.
But I like being the villain. I wanted to be like the ultimate villain. I like that. I've loved Final Fantasy since I was a kid, especially Final Fantasy 7. And I've always loved One Winged Angel, the song. I think it has that like feel to it as soon as it starts playing, that you know that something's coming that's going to try and essentially kill you. So I thought of growing up and liking it so much, I thought I have to use this at some point. And since I started wrestling, I've always wanted to use it, but there was never a time to use it. But then obviously this whole change happened and I thought, right, I'm using it. And some people get it and some people have no idea what it is, and that's fine.
First time I heard it, the second I heard it, I was like, I can't sing along to this because I don't like Persona. Right. So talking about yourself and how you had to change personally, do you think the fans, do you think they ever truly understood you, Persona, or are they misunderstanding something about you? Is there something they're just not getting?
No, I think they understood, but they just chose not to. They understood why I am the way I am. They just chose not to like it, which is fine because I choose not to like them.
It's fair enough. This might get a little personal, I don't know, but how has being Persona taken a toll on you outside of the ring personally? If it has, and if you want to answer that.
I think it's just affected a lot of people's views on me outside of the ring and outside of a show. Like, I think a lot of fans think that what they see in the ring and online is what I must be like every second of every day.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Which is, I think this version of Persona, the evil, nasty man who likes to invade people's homes and stamp on 12-year-old girls' heads, and like, as bad as it sounds, that is essentially my own personality, but just times 100, which I think is what everyone's wrestling persona is. And wrestling's one of them places where I'm allowed to say the things I say, and I'm allowed to do the things that I can do, and no one's gonna. I mean, people can try and cancel us. They've already tried, but they failed. By the way, keep trying. I'm loving the attempts.
By the way, folks, these are real things Persona has done. He has broken into people's houses. He has stomped on little girls' heads.
True that. I'll do it again. But no, people genuinely think that I'm this like horrible, evil monster, and that I shouldn't be around certain people, and I shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't do that, and how dare he be allowed to walk amongst us? But that's not what I'm like every day. Just some of them. So yeah.
We've got another comment question here by Walkout Wall Street. What is your biggest regret in wrestling?
Not leaving CCW sooner.
Straight in there. Straight in there. Fair play. Fair enough. So we're gonna reflect on IWF now. And the first thing I want to know is what does IWF mean to you? If you had to sum it up, you personally, what does it mean?
Oh, that's a deep question. It's essentially, IWF is essentially our playground to show what we think wrestling should be. It means a very big deal to me. That's why in my contract, I wanted my first match to be for the grand prize of the IWF, because I want to be the one that makes this place relevant. I want to be the person that makes this promotion have 5-star matches every show. I want to put IWF on the map. So yeah, it means an awful lot.
That kind of leads into the next question here, because do you believe that the IWF is going to be the future of wrestling in the Northeast? Maybe not just the Northeast, but the United Kingdom. Do you believe it can be put on the map?
I'd be being biased if I said yes, but I'd also be dumb if I said no. I think we'll only be able to get an answer on July the 19th. I think if we don't fill out that room, then we're not as good as we thought we were. And I think if we do fill out that room, then we're on the path to being one of the biggest, which is what I want to be.
I think we will. I'm sure we will.
Buy your tickets.
Another comment question here, again by Walker. What's your greatest achievement in wrestling, or the achievement that means the most to you for personal or non-personal reasons?
My biggest achievement in wrestling is losing the Light in the Dark Spawn.
Oh, what a match.
In that, although I did lose, and I hate losing, and I couldn't think of anything worse than losing. Losing to somebody that I've taught over so many years and who I've watched turn into a very, very, very good quality wrestler. It's sort of like a self-round of applause to myself. Like, yeah, you helped make him what he is, and he's succeeding because of you. And it was very good. It was a very good feel moment. And I couldn't have picked anybody else I'd rather lose it to.
I've watched that match back. It must be thousands of times now. I absolutely love it. The reaction from everyone as well. Moving on though, what's left for Persona? We know you have this important match coming up in July against Strange, but what's next? Whether win or lose, are you chasing glory, redemption, vengeance, or something darker?
Win or lose, I'm not going to lose. Let's not be silly.
You never know.
But if I win, then I'm going to put IWF on the map, and I'm going to have a championship that people all across the country want to come, and they want to wrestle for, and they want to be part of it. And when it comes to just outside the IWF, I want to be in multiple different promotions. I want to be in multiple. I want to have multiple championships and then promotions. I want to be known as one of the biggest names in the Northeast, which I don't think is an unattainable goal, but it's going to be a lot of work.
I know you're willing to put in that hard work as well. Lovely comment question here. Do you like Yorkshire tea?
No, I've been swayed to the Ringtons tea. That's the only tea that we're allowed now.
Am I Ringtons? I might have to try that one. So, kind of answered my question again. Do you see yourself claiming the Golden? If so, what does that mean for every other would-be contender who's going to be coming after you?
Yes, I think I'm going to win. And for everyone that comes after me once I've won, good luck. To beat the best, you got to be the best, and none of you are me. So
There's stranger there. This is your time, like you or don't like you. Your talent and dedication is undeniable. Agree. 100%. 100. Nice questions here that I have picked up from throughout the day from people online. I'll start off from the top. Yeah. Who are your top 3 opponents to have faced off against in your entire career?
Oh God. I hate answering these questions because you end up upsetting the people that you don't say.
As if that's going to bother you.
No, I don't care. I've wrestled lots of great top quality wrestlers, but the matches that I've done that stand out to me is the matches that are great in the ring, but also great on the build-up. How are the audience reacting? Because if they aren't reacting, then your match isn't as good as you think it is. So I've wrestled great people like CJ Banks, Johnny Storm, Davey Blaze, Cabby Craze, Kirsty Love, Chase Striker, but I think when it comes to the actual stories that I was telling, and then the matches that go with it, Spawn is up there, Strange or Dagon is up there, and Chase Striker.
Nice. Colin here. I remember watching you, Martin Kirby versus Persona in Hartlepool.
Yep, and I beat him because I kicked him in the face.
What is your favorite wrestling move to perform?
Coup de grace.
Coup de grace. I had a feeling you'd pick something you use often in the ring.
The best part of it is hearing the person gasp for air as I dump into the stomach and blow all the air out of them.
I already know the answer to this next question, but I know viewers won't. Who is your favorite wrestler and why?
Shawn Michaels.
Any reason why?
I think he's the best person to ever step in a wrestling ring, and one of there's 2 things in wrestling that stood out that made me get into wrestling, because I thought wrestling was just because I hate combat sports. I can't watch them. They're boring. Like things like UFC and boxing to me are like really boring. I can't watch them. I respect people that do them, and it must take a lot, but I'm just not into it. So when I was a kid and I seen wrestling on the telly, and I seen there was 2 guys in a ring, like fighting each other, I thought that's just another thing that I don't care for. And then one of the first things that I ever watched was Kane's debut, where you ripped the cell door off, and I thought, oh, this isn't just fighting. This is like some weird horror thing, and I'm kind of into it, but like still a bit skeptical. And then I seen Shawn Michaels' entrance on the zip line at WrestleMania, and I thought, okay, I want to do this.
Fantastic. It might have kind of answered the next question. I might be wrong though. Who would you love to face off with, alive or dead, from any point in wrestling history?
I'll say one that's retired, and I'll say one that's active. Retired Shawn Michaels, I'd love to wrestle him, obviously. And then who's currently wrestling Gunther.
Imagine Gunther chopping you.
Yeah.
You go flying?
That's my whole thing, isn't it? I fly.
Again, you might have answered this, but you might also have more to add. Did you draw inspiration for Persona from anybody growing up, or is it a unique personality, a unique creation that's all 100% you?
No, I don't think anybody's wrestling persona is unique. I think everybody takes little bits from everybody else and then sculpts it into their own. For me, like I've watched so much wrestling and I've studied so many different wrestlers, and I've took like the tiniest bit from each one and then added it to my own. Like Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, CM Punk, Finn Balor, just to name a few, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, many wrestlers. I have a list somewhere of all these people that I've studied and what I've studied about them and what I like about them and what I've took. But yeah, it's essentially a culmination of everyone who I've enjoyed watching, because I enjoy wrestling because of these people, so there'll be people out there that enjoy wrestling because of me.
All right. I got sent this question earlier today by a friend. I'm curious behind this as well. There's going to be two answers to this. So they want to know about the inspiration behind your wrestling gear, your attire. So you've got the Lilac Legion one. Obviously, you were wearing red and black. You had the yin yang on, and then you've got the gear you've got now, which is ripped shirt, ripped. We've got the ripped sleeve, the black. You've got the pants with the Japanese on, I believe.
Yes. So the Japanese tights I take a lot of inspiration from Japanese style wrestling. So I incorporate that. I like black as a colour, so I use it a lot, even though it's technically not a colour. I use it a lot. Comes to the yin yang, it's the no one's 100% good, no one's 100% bad. There's the two. But then I think a lot more thought went into the Fallen Angel design. Like the paint took a very long time getting the design right for that. And it's not me that does it. And I feel very sorry for the person that I make do it.
I imagine it takes a while.
I know they hate doing it. But that took a while. A lot of that is inspired from Venom. Is what it was originally inspired by, and then we've sort of changed it and just shaped how we sort of wanted it and what I think looks good with my body. The ripped shirt, I wanted it to sort of fit like this black stuff was destroying us. So it's destroying the shirt, and that's why there's so many rips.
Very symbolic.
Yeah, a lot of. And I think it just, as soon as we put it all together, I just think it looked right.
Another. This should be interesting. What's your dream? If you had to have a dream 5 versus 5 IWF Survivor Series match, you can use outside wrestlers from outside of IWF as well. Who would the 5v5 be?
We'll do it with just independent to keep it fun. So we're doing Team IWF against a separate team.
Yeah.
For IWF, we'll have myself, Spawn, Strange, Warga, and who can be the last one? We'll take Sylphrina against. We'll go against Alan Shaw,
Ooh.
Johnny Flashback, Asylum, Hammerhead Smith, and Chase Striker.
Oh, hell of a match.
That would be my 5-on-5.
Oh, hell of a match. Somebody make that happen, please. Colin, if you're still watching, I know you've got connections. We've got a very nice comment question here by Taylor. I don't think we've covered this yet. The name Persona. He's very curious about that. Where'd that come from?
The name Persona is that everybody, not just in wrestling, but in life, I think everyone's, to a certain degree, playing a character, and nobody knows who they actually are. So that's where I took that name from. And then it changed to I'm now the personification of wrestling. So,
yeah. Next question is, who would you like to feud with in the future? If you could have anything, who could have a nice long feud with? Let's make it fun. Let's make it someone you haven't already had a big war with. So no, you can't pick Strange. Yeah, you can't pick Spawn.
We'll go Alan Shaw, just because I think the two styles that we've got can blend very well. And I think we can put on a very good 3 series of matches.
Another common question here: have you ever considered a manager? No, you've had a manager. I've seen you with a manager.
Did I have a manager?
Yeah.
No, I've considered a manager quite a few times, and I've considered quite a few different people. Obviously, I used to have a manager who no longer manages me anymore. And then I've debated having a sort of Paul Heyman-esque type of manager. I've debated having a sort of like bodyguard type of character. If I could find someone that's like 6'6" or 6'5", and I could just hide behind them, that would be great. But I'm still very open to the idea of a manager. It just depends what they'd bring to the table. Like, I don't just want somebody to stand around for the sake of standing around. I want somebody to actually bring something.
Yeah, I like that. I get that. I do have two more questions for you, Persona, and then I'll let you get back to your curries or whatever you plan on doing later on tonight. Hopefully, this one brings about a very fun answer. What's the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you inside of the ring, and why did it happen?
Ooh, this is a weird one. I've got like two. They're not embarrassing, they're sort of more like funny. I was in an Iron match against Jay Striker, and we used a table that wasn't our table and wasn't the company's table, it was the venue's table. It was one of them big, thick plastic ones with the metal legs, and I just thought, well, if I get slammed on it, like, I'm not going to break it. So, because I'm like 9 stone wet, I think it was a spine buster. I got spine busted on the table. It felt fine. I then leaned up, and the bottom leg like snapped from the table, and it didn't like snap like that. It went like that, and I just slid down it like it was a slide, and then had to pay a lot of money for the table. And then the other one was when Saraya Knight hooked me genitalia and gave us a wedgie.
Oh, that's one of my favorite moments. I love that. That entire match, you got thrown about. So we are down to our last question, and this might get deep, it might get personal, but it's going to be, hopefully, it's going to be good. How do you want to be remembered once you're done, once everything's finished? How would you like to be remembered?
I want to be the guy that everybody loved to hate. And I also want to be the guy that everybody knows that if you put him against anybody, you're guaranteed a good match. And that's about it.
All right. Well, that was my final question here. I don't have any more on the comments. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say to those that are watching, those that are going to come and watch, and just anyone out there who maybe wants to be a wrestler?
If you want to be a wrestler, find a good training school with people that actually understand the business. Don't go to these places that pretend wrestling. Don't go to these youth clubs that pretend to be training schools. Put the work in. You're only going to get out of this how much you put in. I've put a lot in. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I feel it. So yeah, just find a good training school, find a good trainer, find an experienced trainer, and you'll be fine. If you actually want this, if this isn't something that you 100% want to do, then it's not going to work. Anything I want to say? IWF first show, July 19th. Get your tickets when they go on sale. Do not miss out, because this show is going to be a banger. Every single match is a match you don't want to miss.
There it is.
That's the poster.
Look who's in the middle.
Yeah, best in the world. Give Wrestling with Pride a follow and go check out their show that I think's coming next month. Go check them out. very good set of wrestlers there, very good promoter, place that if you are a wrestler, get your foot in the door. You want to work there. Dropkick Championship Wrestling, go follow them. They've helped the IWF a lot. Give them a follow. They have a training school. You can go there if you want. Give them a follow. Follow the YouTube. Follow the Facebook. Any of their socials that they've got. And finally, if you want to be trained by the best in the world, come to the IWF training school, and you can get taught by yours truly.
I would love to see a lot of people coming here to learn everything from you, because you've got a lot to teach. Like you said, a lot of years. But our time here has come to an end. And I would like to thank you very, very much for coming on here tonight. I know we've been used to this over the past year or so doing the aftermath, but it's a different atmosphere. We haven't been at each other's throats, and I've learned a lot about you. And I've got a hell of a lot of respect for you as a person, as a wrestler. So thank you very much for everything you have done and continue to do for this community. Even Colin commenting there. Thank you, Persona. Yeah. So,
well, thank you a lot.
From myself, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way, it's either that way or that way, depending on which way my camera's going. From Persona, the best in the world, you can catch us on, you can catch him on July 19th as he faces off against Strange for the IWF Championship. And, well, if you're not there, where the hell are you?
What are you doing?
Good night.
The Empire